This week, the Senedd restarts for what's the final parliamentary term before arguably the most significant election since devolution. First Minister Eluned Morgan tells us she's determined to make sure that people recognise that Welsh Labour is set apart from UK Labour. Welcome to Politics Wales. I'm Teleri Glyn Jones, also coming up this morning. Bore da, good morning. Recess is over, but the political wheel did not stop turning over the summer. Reform now have representation in the Senedd after Conservative Laura Ann Jones dramatically defected to Nigel Farage's party. And the Welsh political world was shaken by the untimely death of Labour MS Hefin David. Hefin was a regular guest on our sofa and always a lively debater. He'll be missed, and our thoughts are with his partner Vicky and his family. But even in tragic circumstances, that political wheel relentlessly continues to turn, and we're now coming up to a hotly contested by-election in Caerphilly. The party leaders will be central to the campaign, and over the course of the next few weeks, we'll catch up with them. This week, while on a visit to the Big Pit Mining Museum, I met the First Minister and Welsh Labour leader Eluned Morgan, and began by asking if this was a must-win by-election for Labour. As mentioned during that interview with the First Minister, a by-election is being held in Caerphilly on October the 23rd. A full list of the candidates will be available on the BBC website, bbc.co.uk/Wales/news/Wales, when all the parties have declared who's standing. And let's discuss that interview now and the year to come. Joining me in the studio is political journalist Will Hayward. Thanks so much for coming in, Will. That Caerphilly by-election is significant, of course, because if Labour do lose it, then they're not in a majority anyway, but it gets really hard for them to get a budget through. It's a very exciting year for people like us, Will. We'll catch up with you throughout the year, I'm sure. Now, Reform members were in high spirits at the party's conference last week, while Nigel Farage told delegates to prepare for the Senedd election. The party's new and only Senedd member, Laura Ann Jones, questioned whether the Welsh Parliament should continue if Reform could not make it work for Wales. This week, BBC Wales obtained a copy of an unpublished report by the Standards Commissioner of the Senedd, which found Laura Ann Jones had breached the Code of Conduct for using a racial slur. She said she could not respond to leaked reports without being in breach of the rules. Earlier this morning, I spoke to the party's Carmarthenshire chair, Gareth Beer, and began by asking him about that leaked report. And we'll be hearing from all the parties about their conferences over the coming weeks. Now, the system is failing people. That's the message from the Alzheimer's Society to ministers, calling on them to make dementia a priority. Research by the Society suggests 1 in 5 people affected by dementia get no support. They want ministers to bring in a new action plan to address the issue, which the Welsh Government says it's working on. Rhodri Lewis reports. Rhodri Lewis reporting there, and that's it for this week. My thanks to my guests and to you for watching as always. If you'd like to get in touch, the email address is bbcpoliticswales@bbc.co.uk. I'll be back next Sunday at 10 with even more Welsh politics and analysis. I hope you can join me. But until then, have a great week. Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi am wylio, and hwyl fawr.